Are we live?
I think we're live. All right, we're live.
We're live. It said you are live on the screen.
Can we restart?
No, we're live.
No, it took us long enough to hit the live button.
We're live. I'm in charge of the intro, right? Oh, look at
You're in charge of the intro.
Wait. Now we have matching mugs except for Benjamin. Do you have a mug over there? Do you got a Sharpie? You could write. Oh, look at that. All right, we are live. What is this? What is this show? We are calling it something. We have not decided yet, but for now, it is Marketing Ping Pong. Maybe Marketing Power Hour. We got a lot of different things that this might.
We'll figure it out later.
You said marketing ASMR.
Yes, that's like the later portion of the episode where we scratch our microphones and my beard and stuff. But what is this show? So this show is designed for Allie and I and whoever else we want. Today we have Benjamin to talk about whatever we want about marketing. We're going to talk about roasting people's marketing. We're going to talk about things that we like, don't like, what we do in our own businesses for marketing, and it's for us to have fun. That's like the main goal here. I don't care if anybody ever watches this. I just want to hang out and do hood rat shit with my friends. How does that sound to you guys?
That sounds like fun to me.
Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open every single show with a dance. I'm just kidding. We don't have to do a dance party. I know Allie didn't want to do that. That's fine. If you don't want to have any fun. Yep. If you don't want to have fun, that's totally fine. And let's just jump right in.
Time for that.
What are we talking about today? Allison Thompson. What are we talking about today?
So I have a bunch of subjects up on the board here that we could potentially talk about. So we have a group chat now where we're just sharing marketing things that we like and that we don't like and things that we want to talk about. Mostly we've shared things that we like, so we really need to work on the roasting the bad stuff. Okay. Unfortunately, the algorithm tends to deliver good stuff, and it's harder to find the bad stuff sometimes. So there's at least one example I have here on this call to talk about for a good and bad example of posting on Facebook. But I thought we would start kind of old school with what we've done with Marketing Ping Pong, with the podcasts that we've done in the past. And that is pretending to open a business together. And one of the ideas that was dropped into our chat was the Lord's Chicken. And I think it's a fantastic idea. And it's a lot of fun. And I think it's a good way to just start the podcast and start, just jump right into it. Let's pretend to open a business together. I love doing this because it helps us kind of stretch and flex our marketing muscles and apply it in different ways. And all three of us, I believe, are ADHD entrepreneurs that always want to start a new business. Mm-hmm. So by going through this exercise, it scratches that part of the brain and we don't have to actually do it because we don't want to start every business. So
we want to, but we can't.
Yes, we want to, but it's physically impossible. So Duncan, you came to the group with the Lord's Chicken idea. Let's do it. What is the Lord's Chicken?
I can't take credit, although I would love to. My brother-in-law brought the idea to me, and I was like, this is the best idea that you've ever had. Please definitely do this. And it is a food truck, food something, maybe a trailer. I don't know the details. We're marketers. We don't have to think about the details. That is open on Sundays and basically is a Chick-fil-A clone that markets to churches, right? Park in the church parking lot, sell Chick-fil-A, chicken nuggies, chicken sandwiches, waffle fries, lemonade, all that good stuff because Chick-fil-A is not open on Sundays. And we're just going to take all that sweet Lord's Chicken money that the churchgoers would like to spend at Chick-fil-A on Sundays, and we're just going to take it for ourselves. Also, we can expand into different days of the week, other religious Christian events throughout the week to expand the business, and that's kind of the basic business plan.
I love it. So I love the idea of taking advantage of the market when the number one business they want to go to isn't open. Leaving that huge gap. People still eat on Sunday, and it's a very popular day to eat out. But Chick-fil-A is not open.
Yeah, we go to lunch every Sunday after church. It's like, where are we going for lunch? We sit down and figure it out after church. And it's like the one day that we expect to just buy food.
And for me, like, I'm not going to church every Sunday, but like, if I were, I would.
Heathen.
I am. If I were going to church, it would drive me nuts because I don't go out to eat on Sundays as it is because of the church crowd. So always having to like elbow in and find a place in a dining room, in a restaurant somewhere on a Sunday afternoon, like late morning afternoon, is a pain in the butt. So we just don't go on Sundays.
So this is a win-win for you because then all the church people just stay at their church.
I know. If the church people stay at the church and eat the chicken nuggies there, then I can go to the pancake house and not have to fight for my spot at the table. So I like it for that reason. I also like it that it's a captive audience. Like everybody's leaving. When you think about food trucks, you always think about where's the foot traffic and where are there people already, or where can I get in front of a crowd that already exists? People going to bars late at night, they park near where the bar district is because people leave the bars and want to eat. People are leaving church. And I don't know why chicken is the thing. I don't know why chicken is church food. I mean, even before Chick-fil-A, chicken is church food. Like chicken is things that people eat after church. Chicken is what they eat for a Sunday meal, even at home. So it just lines up so perfectly to go where the crowd is, serving them the food that they would automatically already want to eat. And then again, taking advantage of the fact that Chick-fil-A is closed.
Yeah.
I love it.
What I think hit me about this idea, so like he came to me and he's done a couple things. Like he's been trying to start some different businesses and get some things going. And this one, it was instantly like, yeah, that's a great idea. And I can see exactly how it goes to market. Like that's kind of the hard part is figuring out, to me anyway, where your customers are and how to like get to them. Mm-hmm. And it's just so easy. Like he was asking me about running ads and I was like, don't waste your money. Yeah. Like you're going to be parked. They're walking out of church, like to your food truck. Don't waste your money on ads. And then I instantly went to ChatGPT and started coming up with taglines, and I had it generate a logo. And it's like, those are the ideas that I know if I instantly like go and do something about it when I hear it, it's like, I know that's a good idea because it motivated me to act, if that makes sense. So I instantly went and did that and came up with some taglines that are like Christian songs, but you replace a word with like nuggets, or like chicken or fries or whatever. And that was a lot of fun. Yep, yeah, there's the logo.
Yeah, there's the logo. There's the logo that you came up with, I think is great. And then we talked about in the chat too about excuse me, about actually having a deal with the church. Obviously you have to have the church's permission, right? If you're going to park in the parking lot. But having a deal with the church where they get a percentage, OMG. Like if you give them a percentage, then they're telling their congregation from the pulpit, potentially, from somebody who has authority over them as far as they perceive it, telling them to go eat the chicken outside in the parking lot because the church is getting 10% of those sales.
Yeah.
So they were already going to go to Bob Evans or the Pancake House or whatever. Yeah, now you can eat and the church gets a percentage.
Yeah, it's massive.
It's no brainer. You get your chicken, Maybe you're eating in the car, you're eating at the, in Florida, you could eat outside year round. But you can, the church gets that percentage of it and then the church is endorsing it. So rather than having advertising money, you get the church to advertise you for you, and then you build up the brand recognition. So when you're at a festival or when you're at because you could do other events, you already have a food truck, you might as well do other stuff as well. But when you're at other events and people see you, you're going to have that instant brand recognition, and it's going to be tied to the place where they go to church. The brand recognition is tied to this really important thing that they do every single Sunday. So, like, who are they choosing then? Who are they choosing to support? Some random taco truck or your chicken?
The Lord's chicken.
Lord's chicken. Why would you go somewhere else if it's the Lord's chicken?
It's pretty obvious. Yeah,
it's pretty obvious.
There's a song called Lord, I Lift Your Name on High It's very popular, and I did Lord, I Lift Your Name on Fries. That's like I want that so bad to work. I was trying to find like chicken or like nuggets that would fit into a song name, and it is very hard. But ChatGPT again gave me a list of like 30, and it's almost, you know how it is. It's like almost good. You know, it's like not quite the right word, and it doesn't rhyme with the word that it replaced. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna have to actually think about this and figure it out myself. But such a fun business idea, and like at that point, because you have your built-in customer base, you don't have to do anything other than like not mess up the chicken. It's like, don't mess up the food, and you have like a built-in business with a customer base, like regular revenue every single week, and then you can expand from there. So love
the
that.
food can't be bad, but it can literally be just okay.
Yes, yeah. Just don't screw it up.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't, like, it's not bad.
Yeah, don't give anybody food poisoning. Like, don't, like, again, it's like bare minimum effort, because the idea is so good that as long as you don't screw it up, like, you'll be all right.
So when you were introducing this idea on the podcast just now, the first thing that popped into my head, and this is where we always talk about crossing lines, because you can always back up from the line. But the whole point of this podcast is to get as close to the line as we can, and even cross it, and then you can back up. There's so much you can do with this that will either work or be like sacrilegious.
Yeah.
So when you said like chicken, and we're gonna do like the Chick-fil-A and offer chicken and have the nuggies, first thing that came into my head was dino nuggies, and then I'm like, no, cross nuggies. Like, we're gonna have chicken nuggets shaped like crosses,
little
or
angel
like
nuggets.
angel nuggets would probably
bathe in ketchup.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. There's so many ways you could go with it. That
there
like,
is
toe right over the line, but not quite.
Yeah. And that's the thing, you got to figure out, like, at what point is this a sense of humor, and at what point is this like offending people?
It depends on the denomination of the church, to be honest.
I think that is very true too. I think some are definitely way more like,
we're going straight to Pentecostal.
Yeah. Oh, we're getting in trouble. Yeah, these nuggets are on fire with the Holy Spirit. Oh God, there's so many things you could do. I like this.
Oh my God, I
so
love
many
that.
Reasons.
You could have like hot chicken and like like a spicy chicken, and this chicken is on fire with the Holy Spirit, or like a Holy Spirit hot sauce or something.
Yes,
goes with it.
Oh my God, there's so much merch. Like everything about this, it's just a catchy idea to like ride the coattails of, and it spawns so many different things that you could do. It's such a good brand also to like make fun of Chick-fil-A and copy all their stuff. And it's already a big brand, and they already have brand loyalty to it. There's so many things wrapped up in that. Like, they all wish it was open on Sundays. It's a joke. Like, where should we go to lunch? Oh, Chick-fil-A. Haha. And like that, we do that. I say that joke every Sunday. Every Sunday I say that joke, because it never gets old. So there's so much there, there's so much potential there, that I was like, I'll buy your food truck. Like, let's do this thing.
Let's do it now. Yeah. So Benjamin, you were talking about, I said something about how it has to be open there, that it can just be open on Sundays. And you were like, by the time you buy a food truck and have all the costs of everything, you want to be open other days. But honestly, and I don't necessarily want to do this on this podcast because like it's numbers, and numbers is boring, but I would try so hard. I would try so hard to figure out, and especially if you're just like an owner operator and you've got one or two people helping you on a Sunday, I would try so hard to find the exact right church with the exact right number of congregants that you could sell the exact right amount of chicken, that all you'd have to do is work one day a week.
Yeah.
Like literally the opposite of Chick-fil-A.
What do you think the right amount of chicken you can actually produce, right? So you're talking about,
I have
like
no idea.
Like,
that's why I said I don't.
There's a rush, right? Like, how much chicken can you produce, you think, in that? Like, because people just like, they're not going to want to wait in line to get chicken anywhere. Like, they're just like,
but that's why it's an okay sandwich. So you can do a certain amount of pre-prep. Mm-hmm. And if you make the sandwiches and the nuggets like pretty basic, and you're pre-cooking nuggets, like, yeah, you're going to have that rush, but you have to, like, the simplest The
Do you think you could
simplest thing.
deliver like halfway through like hey,
Well, what you
Chicken
do is
here. We got some chicken. You
What
He's
you
walk
walking
do
in
down
is
the
like-
aisle with a big bucket.
you like create an app or something so that while people are at church, they can be putting their
Oh
order in,
my god!
and then they just
that's
come
such a
out
good
and
idea.
pick up their, have their order number, and they pick up their order, and then you're continuing to produce beyond that. And that way, you can have all that pre-made stuff ready and under a hot lamp, or I don't know how like restaurant stuff and food truck stuff works. But yeah, no, that would be pretty.
I think you could like max capacity do like $4 to $5 grand in sales from a decent sized church. Like there are some that are in a day. I think that's feasible, but it's still like you got the margins of like a food truck, which is hard. It's like you're not going to make $4 or $5 grand. Like that's your revenue, right?
Mhm.
But a couple grand a weekend, that's pretty feasible, I think, to do on a Sunday with a few different services, like actually net a couple grand from a Sunday.
Especially if you I mean like if you're able to hit up like 2 or 3
Yeah.
I don't know what the times are. I'm sure some
You
churches
get like
are
an early morning service.
well,
and
you
an
can't do
after-
too early, or you have to have like a breakfast menu. And it's like
Yeah. Most churches like of the size that you'd want to do this at have at least 2 different services, maybe 4. So they have like 100 to 200 people each.
Well,
Oh my
what-
gosh!
it's
If
like-
they
what
have
about-
4 services? You're just parked in
Staggered.
their
what
parking
about that?
lot.
What about that?
Yeah.
There's that
Yeah.
road in our town where it's like there's like 5 churches. Like, couldn't you just like kind of have like a, at this church just where we are, but they could like suck up all of the churches. Like,
Yeah.
You might get 2-3 people from each church to come, but it's like, hey, it's better than 0.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about possible expansion opportunities. The nice thing there is that you wouldn't really have to work on other days if you figured out your numbers and your operations to scale to other churches on Sundays, right?
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
like get your one church that is crushing it. They have 4, 5 services. There was one I went to in Orlando, and obviously like different market, massive church. They had 5 services. 2 of them were Spanish speaking services. So it was like Spanish, English, traditional, and then like really old hymn style service. And they did like 1,500 people on a Sunday through that church. And like the potential there is massive. You just got to figure out who that would be like your whales, right? Who are the whales in the industry? So
How about does it exist a ghost kitchen food truck?
I'm sure,
like,
ghost kitchens are.
What if you could rent a truck for just one day, and like it has all the equipment? Like then you could make that would be like no
You
expensive.
mean on off days when you're not at church, when you're not?
I would say like if you want to work one day a week, or maybe 2, like hit up like the weekend churches like Saturdays and Sundays. What if you rented a ghost truck? Because I'm assuming maybe food trucks are not as popular on like a Sunday, because like Thursday, Friday night is probably when people go to like food truck places.
So you're thinking like borrow a truck for a Sunday, basically.
Yeah,
Okay.
And maybe there's a company that like rents food trucks out. Like I want to rent it every Sunday forever, and it's like you can make your whole business off. Like you pay them, I don't know what the cost would be, but like pay them what makes sense, and then you don't have the expense of the whole truck for being dormant 5 out of 7 days. You would,
Yeah. The question really is like, how much money are they losing on days that the truck isn't running? And can you pay them like a fraction of that to say like, look, it's just sitting here, man. Like, let me use it every Sunday. This is what I want to do.
But most food trucks are at festivals and things that are Saturdays and Sundays. I think you'd have a hard time. I think you just do a pared down, really simple food truck. That doesn't have to be that expensive to do. I wouldn't think that it would have to be that expensive. I mean, you can have a fully decked out food truck, but you can have something pretty pared down with just like a fryer, and you could have. I mean, I've dealt
you
with
would need
a lot
multiple fryers. It's
yeah.
That's the thing is like you would need a fully decked out like food truck to like handle.
But you
the
don't
volume
need
for
things
making
the
that
max,
Sunday.
like you'd be like maximum volume for like a period of time.
But you
It's
don't
like,
need things like cold ingredients. Like I'm not putting lettuce and tomatoes on these sandwiches. Like you're getting ketchup and mayonnaise.
Yeah.
This is the most simple,
well, I'm going to Bon Evans.
I'm not going to your food truck. I'm going somewhere they have lettuce and tomatoes.
This
I think that
this large chicken is a little sparse.
the Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away. Sorry. I think that it's
loaves and
a
fishes miracle.
yeah.
I
I think it's
that,
a viable business. You just really got to figure out. It's like you have to study the fast food operations model in order to put out enough volume to make it make sense. And that's going to be the weakest link, I think, for anybody doing it is like, how do I serve 500 people in a day, like these $8 chicken meals? Like that's
do you
a
think
lot
the
pull
play
off.
would be like you pretend that you do all this and you just try to sell as much merch as possible? Because I think it would be good merch.
Yeah.
It's like I had a food truck idea.
Yeah, we got chicken, but you really want a T-shirt.
A couple
Yeah,
years
yeah.
ago, and it was like definitely not cat food, and it would be like an Asian food truck,
Oh yeah.
and it's like the Asian food truck is like I don't know if that would be that popular, but the merch, it's like
There's an egg roll truck here. I don't know if you've seen those ads, Benjamin, but they do like a it's kind of like a product drop that you would see in a e-commerce store. They're like, hey, we're going to be at this address at 4:00 on a Friday afternoon. If you want to be there, we have this many orders available. You can pre-order it now, and then they'll be like, sold out. See you on Friday. People will just buy all of their stock before they even show up. So like, there's an opportunity there for something. First of all, to say that Asian food trucks are very popular, and then second of all, to say you might even be able to do like a pre-sale once you have once you have a name at a church. You can be like, hey, we're order your chicken now for Sunday.
We have
so
500 chicken sandwiches available.
Yes,
yeah, that would make sense. You'd probably sell it every weekend. So
exactly.
Yeah, and that's and that sets up the expectation that we could be sold out. I've watched. I don't know if you guys have ever watched those like Great Food Truck Race on Food Network before.
They filmed one down here in downtown Fort Myers. Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. But even in those, the competitors have X amount of food. Like they don't go out and get more food. They have X amount they plan for being able to sell. And if they can sell out, they've had a good day. Mm-hmm. So that's the idea, is just sell out of everything you have for the day. So with this, if you show up with 500 chicken sandwiches and we're going to start making chicken sandwiches and we have chicken sandwich platter, whatever it is, that's all we have. And as soon as it's gone, it's gone.
You got to go to a Catholic church and kind of like heat stamp the Virgin Mary on the inside of every bun. Oh my gosh. It's like right on the line.
Virgin Mary on my toast. I was thinking go to the Catholic church and do like a fish Friday, do fish fry Fridays or something like that during Lent. Yeah, that's what we have more of that here. It's definitely a lot more Catholic churches, and we have gorgeous Catholic churches, by the way. And they're all kind of close together, so that would make sense to have like a fish, some kind of fish thing on Fridays.
And is it popular on Fridays, the church?
No, but if the church was getting a donation, I'm sure they would let people know that it's there on a Friday. It's just the whole point. I don't know if you know, like with Lent, it's Catholics believe that they're not supposed to eat meat on Friday, but then that kind of went by the wayside, and now it's just a thing they do during Lent. So they'll eat meat throughout the year on Fridays, but a lot of them will have fish sandwiches on Fridays during Lent. So that's when McDonald's is packed. We have a fish company. It's called Demor's Fish, whatever.
It's got to be like their Super Bowl.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think they make their entire. I don't know anybody who goes to Demor's any other time of the year. Wow. Nobody goes to Demor's other than like February till like Easter.
That's so fun.
And then there's a line coming out to the street. Everybody's lined up, and especially on Friday nights, they'll do it throughout the week because some people will do fully, like they won't eat meat at all during Lent, so they're eating chicken sandwiches the whole time. But for a lot of people, it's Friday nights or Friday, and so they're at the McDonald's, they're at Demor's, they're like shoveling in them fish.
I feel like the you're talking about the chicken. Doesn't have to be great because it's just like convenient, but I feel like it would have to compete. Like you'd have to do a very similar recipe to Chick-fil-A, like something like a copycat recipe.
Sure.
I ate my brother-in-law's chicken. He made it the other night, and I was like indistinguishable.
You know what the secret is of Chick-fil-A?
Hit me.
It's pickle juice.
I'm sure whatever it is, he's got it figured out.
That's great.
I've
I was
had
like, this tastes
Chick-fil-A
exactly like
once,
Chick-fil-A.
and I was like, it's a chicken sandwich.
Yep.
I like Popeyes.
fine.
Popeyes has a really good chicken sandwich.
Yeah, that's
I like
like
a spicy chicken sandwich. I like.
Yeah, they
I
have
like,
a spice. They have the ghost
it
pepper.
makes me cry a little bit. That's a good chicken
Yeah,
sandwich.
and they're the sauce that they put on it. I mean, Chick-fil-A sauce is amazing, and I put it on everything. But the Popeyes sauce that they put on there, it's so good. And if they sold it over the counter, I would buy a gallon of it.
a gallon. Yeah, the Chick-fil-A. I think Popeyes has a better tasting sandwich in my opinion. It's like more seasoned, but I think the idea with like minimum viable quality. It's like don't worry too much about making it exactly like Chick-fil-A, especially at scale, because the
Well, they
idea
can't
itself.
get Chick-fil-A that day anyhow, so
Yeah.
who cares? They're not choosing between you and Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
They don't have that choice.
Yeah, it's the Lord's chicken. You don't have to like we're a different thing, even though it's very clear that we're copying. We're like a clone of Chick-fil-A, and our whole branding is making fun of Chick-fil-A, kind of in a way. But you don't have to be quite as good as them, but at least as fast.
Basic chicken sandwich, and then you can have an array of different sauces that once they get the sandwich, they can go.
You have the Chick-fil-A sauce there.
That would be so good. That's genius.
You just go to Walmart. You go to Walmart and you just like empty out the shelf of Chick-fil-A sauce.
And you like wrap it in like white paper, just Sharpie the Lord's chicken sauce on it.
So you don't even wrap it; you just Sharpie it out.
Yeah, or like a piece of tape.
White. No, you use white out, and then you write over it. Like when it dries, it kind of cracks, and you can see Chick-fil-A underneath it.
I'm in.
I love it. I love it. So yeah, no, I think this is a good idea. And of course you can have social media and you can have all the things to let people know, like if you're going to be at other events, and you have Bible camp sort of things in the summertime, and you have Wednesday night church. I know a lot of churches do like a Wednesday night church. So you have other times that you can show up, and you've got that branding from Sunday, and who is not going to talk about you? Everybody in that church, especially the first day you show up, or let's say the second Sunday, after you've been there once and everybody comes back the next Sunday, everybody in the church is going to be talking about the food truck in the parking lot.
Hopefully
Did you try it yet? And I haven't tried it yet.
Hopefully the conversation isn't like, man, I was on the toilet all day.
One thing churchgoers are known for is gossip. So like they're definitely going to be talking about whatever is happening out there in the parking lot.
Yeah. So do you think it's weird if the guy wouldn't be going to that church? Like, would you? It's like, oh, you're skipping church to sell to us? Is that a weird?
It can be. So the way that that's perceived, I've seen is like they would be seen as affiliated with the church, even if he's not in attendance with the church. So you can it's kind of gray area, but a lot of those mega churches, not mega churches, but like big churches, often will hire people to come in and do things like that, like vendors and things. So it's not unreasonable. Even like the musicians at some of those churches, they'll hire outside musicians to come in and play, even if they don't attend the church. Like I've been a fill-in drummer at other churches where they just paid me because their drummer wasn't available. So it's kind of like you can kind of get away with it with a certain size church. I just did some math, and let me be clear, ChatGPT did the math for me.
I've seen ChatGPT's math though. I'm not.
It's good. It's good. The math is good.
Okay.
The nuggets sold per day on average at a Chick-fil-A location is 1,530. So like all you'd really need to sell in order to like be all right, I would say is like 500 in a day would be like
That's only
really solid.
How many orders is that? If it's like 8?
No, that's orders. So individual nuggets is like 12,000. Yeah, it's 13,000 individual nuggets.
I was like 1,500 nuggets doesn't seem like that. Like
no, that's like orders of chicken
a
nuggets.
Shopping bag full of nuggets.
I'm very focused on the nuggets. I know you think we need sandwiches. I'm like nuggets all day long. But
I would do tenders, chicken tenders. If you're going to go that route, then I would make a little bit more of a substantial chicken tender. A chicken tender basket with the chicken and the fries, and then they can go and pour their sauce on the chicken tenders.
I don't know why tenders, but like the people at the Chick-fil-A are like, yeah, you get a better deal, and it's like better overall to get a tender than a nugget.
Well, yeah, but we're talking margins here. You can sell nuggets for a lot more and make more on them than you can for a tender, and they cook faster and more evenly because
That's
they're
fair.
smaller. So
And
like
it's more
drop
easy
'em,
to
drop 'em.
it's easier to share. It's like, yeah, let's get 10 nuggets, and like everybody had 2, and it's like, all right, let's go to the restaurant now. It's like not even
Yeah.
it's not even
Yeah,
it's like
it could be pre-gaming before they
It's-
actually go to the Bob Evans.
yeah, it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna order the 10 stack of.
That's so America. Like, let me pregame our Sunday church meal with chicken nuggets.
Yeah,
from the
imagine
food
like,
truck.
hey, you want to get a 6-pack of nuggets? And it's like 2
Yeah, you
for
gotta
you,
keep
2
the-
for the kids. Like,
Yeah.
get them because like it's gonna be an hour until you actually eat. And
Yep.
what is it? Already 11 o'clock. You're not eating till noon.
Fair.
Maybe eating breakfast. It's like you might just pick up a 10 count, and like the kids have a couple nuggets. You have a couple. It's like you eat 2 nuggets, like did nothing. It's like 20 calories, and then
Yep.
and then you won't be miserable waiting at Bob Evans. You'll just be like, yeah, I'm content. I had my body is digesting something. The Lord's chicken.
My blood
but-
sugar isn't crashing.
Yeah. The kids are slightly
Yeah, the
less
kids
agitated.
No,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. All right, Duncan,
The
you got me.
average chicken Chick-fil-A restaurant does 8.1 million a year.
Do you know how the Chick-fil-A model works? The franchise model?
You
So-
have to be baptized in order to own one. I don't know.
It's it's $10,000 to purchase a Chick-fil-A franchise,
Okay.
and they keep 50% of the profit.
Oh
But
wow.
But they build everything for you. So it's like they basically open up a Chick-fil-A. You have to run and operate it, and you get 50% of the profit. It's kind of like their model. So it's the cheapest entry, but like the biggest, if they make,
Sure, yeah.
what is it, like 10% usually is what restaurants make. So they make $800K on a restaurant a year. So the owner would get $400K, and then Chick-fil-A would get $400K.
I mean, but you still have to. Yeah, it's cheap entry, but there's still going to be barrier to entry, right? Like,
Oh, there's
is it
yeah.
a good
I mean,
market?
they
and,
do
yeah.
Chick-fil-A does all that. Like you have to
Yeah.
apply. You can't
Yeah,
just
they're
go
picky
in.
about who they choose. Yeah.
They check their finances. They want to make sure that you're able. It's like they're because I looked into it briefly and I was like 50%. Like, no, thank you.
All right. So if we sold 500 a day at what Chick-fil-A charges, we would be doing $5,000. $5,200 total. revenue.
Okay, I do have access to Cheney Brothers. I could look at the price of chicken nuggets.
Perfect.
I can tell you exactly how much your brother would be paying for them. Through a distributor.
He was saying it's cheaper. I don't know, and we're kind of getting into the weeds here on stuff that's not marketing. But he was saying chicken breast will make two meals, like 2 meals that you would sell. So he would buy large bulk chicken breast and just prep it all the day before, freeze it, and then bread it and do the whole deal and have it ready to be dropped when people order. So it's fried instantly when they pick it up, but it's already prepped and ready to go. He has it all sorted. He's a good cook, so I know he could figure that all out.
Yeah, but it's kind of if he doesn't have to do that thing the day before, it's
Yeah,
it comes on the truck and it's ready to go. That's the
True.
real,
that's the way to do it. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, love it. Let's do it.
Especially for
Let's,
chicken nuggets, I don't know that I would put so much effort into making a chicken nugget. I would just find a really good wholesale chicken nugget.
Actually, yeah, I think like you said, putting time into making it would not be worth it. The chicken sandwich, maybe it is. It might taste really good, but
Would you work 2 days to make $1,000? It's like most people would.
Sure,
yeah, but I guess it's
I would maybe put more
Would you-
work into making sauces, like custom sauces and that sort of thing. That's really what people want to taste.
Yeah.
We don't really need to taste the chicken. But the sauce is what people tend to like. So if you wanted to do custom sauces and things like that, that might be cool.
I guess would you want to make $900 in one day? It's
True. Yeah.
Fair.
Fair. Yeah. Good point. Look, I'm all about it. I just like the idea, and I think we should just all 3 go in on this together and steal the idea and just take it to launch it before he gets it. Let's do it.
I have
Benjamin,
a,
just so that you know, at the end of every single one of the podcasts we've ever done, the whole point of the podcast is so that we don't have to start the business. Every single time Duncan's ready to start the business, he's like, no, seriously, I think we seriously need to do this.
Some of the ideas are just too good. Truck
They're
nuts.
really good.
Truck
I have
nuts
a,
was game-changing idea. That was so good. That was so good.
It
We
was
should
good.
open that still. I'm convinced, but whatever.
That would be
Um,
that would be a Florida business. Like
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
such a perfect Florida business. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Love it. All right, cool. So the downside of starting off with the Lord's Chicken is it wasn't really a marketing challenge because like it just sells itself. There's no
Yep.
challenge there. There's nothing that like, oh, how would we make this work? It's just going to work. If you get all you need is the agreement with the church, right? That's the hardest work. And then have just an okay product that is
Just okay.
kicking back money to the church. That's all you need.
Yeah, not a marketing challenge at all.
Not a marketing challenge. So I pulled up some other things that we had in our chat.
What do we got?
Let me see.
You were mentioning that we didn't have too many that were like negative examples. I have one that's, I know you're pulling stuff up. I have one that's like negative, but also really good marketing.
Okay,
If that makes sense.
Message it to me and I'll pull it up over here.
I will
I'm just going to show this one because I thought this was fantastic and adorable. And because you just talked about truck nuts, I love this so much. It's really, really cute. And I would buy that bag simply because of the little
Yeah.
squirrel face.
Yeah,
Like, I have
same.
no need for shelled walnuts, but that's the cutest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's effective marketing on a lot of different levels. This is where you get into, we talk about how design isn't always like the most important element. We focus on copywriting a lot more than anything else. But this is where like good product design and good graphic design can really take something to the next level and get somebody to buy just because it's a good catchy thing
Yep.
to look at, right? I don't want walnuts either, but I would definitely also buy this. I would buy this and send it to you as like a Christmas gift, right? It's like, take a look at this crazy marketing thing.
I would just set it on my counter and look at it. Like, it's so cute. And for like, they're already going to have packaging on the walnuts. It's a little bit of extra cardboard, like cheap cardboard on top of it. This has got to be the cheapest way to sell more walnuts possible. And it was just being creative with the packaging. They didn't change the product at all. It's simply a difference in packaging. In fact, I'm going to share this with my clients. I'm going to put it in my group and say, hey, like this is the sort of things you need to be thinking about.
I feel like that is something that they could do too. I mean, that's kind of like they could do cute things like that.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
It's just cute. I'll buy it because it's cute for no other
Exactly.
reason than it's cute.
Yeah, it's like, oh, hey, I didn't need walnuts, but now I want them. Like,
Yeah,
I
now I have
want
to have
them.
them.
It creates desire, right? It's like that's what we're trying to do here, and it does it without words at all. I think that's really a powerful skill to have that I do not really have. I gotta say stuff to get you to do stuff. So.
Did you send me it or no?
I sent it to
You
your. Yep, I sent it. You remember that one?
Did you send it in the good, the bad?
I can.
Well, I don't know. Oh, I found it. No, I have that one already.
Oh, okay, cool.
That the 10 free case studies.
That one. Yep.
Yep. All right. Yep. I already had that one. Let me open it up.
Allie's on the ball.
I am.
All right,
I wish I could make it bigger. I'm not sure how to zoom in on that.
I have a price on the chicken tenders.
I got a chicken tender update for you. Hit me.
Wait, how much per 2 ounce? Okay, it's 73. Okay, so each tender is.
I wrote tendy, price per tendy.
Price per tendy.
Wait, it messed it up.
I believe
77.
it. $77 per tender.
No. Each tender would be 98 cents.
We're going broke.
Each 2
98
ounce
cents.
for
That
each two
seems high.
ounce.
Yeah, that feels high.
Oh, it's
98 cents per tender. It's
Like
breaded
then
too.
you have to like just sell
Breaded.
3
Yeah,
for
yeah.
$10.
Oh, so it's
And french
like ready to go.
You
It's ready
throw
to
in the
go.
fryer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's breaded and like seasoned and all that. That's like ready to prepare. Oh, okay. You'd have to do your cost analysis to see what it costs to prep it versus whatever, but that's not that bad. Okay.
A Chick-fil-A sandwich is 4 ounces
Oh, okay.
just for the meat. And
So
then
a
6,
sandwich is like $2 for the meat.
yeah, if you were to buy from this specific brand and this specific distributor,
Got it.
low use, I order
Yeah,
twice a year.
got it.
So
Okay, good to know.
you could probably, I guess like they sell you a Chick-fil-A. Well, I mean, you compare it to Chick-fil-A chicken tender price. Like they sell a 4 count for, I don't know, Chick-fil-A 4 count chicken tenders price index. um, This seems cheap. Our Chick-fil-A is screwing us.
Oh, they're buying it at they're
Yeah, they
buying
buy-
a different volume.
They buy 5 million chickens worth at a time.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
apparently
you zoomed in. Nice. I can see it now.
$7.25 for four and a drink.
I had to put my tab magnification on like 200%, but it's there.
We pulled it off.
All
right, so let me-
I'm done with the Lord's chicken.
The Lord's chicken. Moving on.
All right.
Amen. All right. Now we're going to talk about this ad that I got. I think this is an example of really good marketing for this company, right? So they're going to get a lot of people that are going to download these 10 free case studies. And when I say people, I mean people trying to launch and grow or figure out how to do a marketing agency. That's who they're trying to target here with this ad. Those people need case studies to use on their sales calls to convince people to buy their stuff. And if you don't already see why this is a problem, I'll explain it. Like these case studies are not for things that these people have done. These are pre-made case studies that this company is saying, here, use this to lie to people and convince them to buy your stuff, right? That's what's happening here. And it's a huge problem with digital marketing agencies in general, where it's low barrier to entry. And there are people actively marketing to those people trying to build an agency. Like, here's how you sell people. Here's what you do to get them to actually give you money, and then figure out the rest of it after you actually get clients. That is a very common strategy. And the reason that this company is doing that is because they provide white label services to agencies, meaning if it were me, they're like, yeah, go use these case studies to sell, and then we'll do the work for you. That's what they're trying to do here. So brilliant marketing, I think, on their part, right? Get the people that don't know how to do the work. They don't have any proof. Give them the case studies, and then they go out and sell, and then we'll do the work. The reason that this is like kind of gray area okay is because these case studies are probably from this white label agency.
Right.
So it's work that they've done. So they have examples of their work, but there's no guarantee that the people that use these case studies are going to come back to them and actually use them to fulfill the work. So I just wanted to point out why it's like something that I probably wouldn't do if I was this company, because it would make me feel morally bad. But I'm sure it's also working really, really well to get them clients. Yeah.
I think you're right. The case studies, if the white label company is the one that's actually fulfilling, the case studies are coming from that, it's fine. But then what happens is Joe Schmo takes these case studies and says, see the results I'm getting for people.
Yeah.
Like, it's not necessary. And it depends, again, whether or not people are above board and saying like, hey, I'm selling you these services. These are results this service has gotten in the past.
Yeah.
It kind of makes it weird, but we've talked about this a lot with agencies, that so many people just start an agency because, Dan Henry told them to, or whatever guru is out there saying make $1 million by starting an agency. And the biggest thing that they teach, and we saw this even with the agency summit that we went to, right? The biggest thing they're teaching is how to sell what it is that you're doing, not necessarily how to do a good job with what you're doing, which again, we saw at that summit, there were some people that you're like, they probably do a sucky job. How many people did you guys talk to in that room that didn't even know how to do marketing? And yet they own marketing agencies that they're trying to sell to people, and they don't understand their own product that they're selling.
Yeah, it's rough. And like I don't know if I think it might just be like a weird moral hang up for us because we see the inside of it. But like
Mhm.
there's so many there are so many businesses that are like this. It's like you want to start a business, but you're not quite sure how to do it. It's like go get clients and start doing the thing and figure it out when you're in there, right? Like that mentality is so deeply ingrained into business in general and like entrepreneurs in general. And I look at it and admire it like with a pressure washer, right? Oh wow, yeah, he really hit the ground running. He like got his first few clients and figured out how to do pressure washing and figured out how to price. But like for us, it's like, oh, you're taking this person's money and saying that you're gonna provide results that will help grow their business and sell the dream of like being successful without knowing how to do it. So like, is there like
Yeah,
a weird, you
a
know?
pressure washer, there's only so many ways to do that, right?
Yeah,
Like if I hire you to pressure wash my driveway and when you're done my driveway is clean, I don't care that you're brand new or
yeah,
that I got the desired result that I
Yeah,
want.
but
But
I might burn all of your plants.
if you're selling
I
people
don't know
on
what
the
I'm doing.
dream and like you're going to make all of this money because we're going to do this marketing for you and then you don't deliver, and on top of that you're charging $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 a month to deliver this product, and then telling them, well, it takes time, which social media can take time, SEO can take time, but some of these things that they're saying takes time does not take a lot of time.
yeah.
There are things you can do within social media that does not take time. And so they're kind of like kicking the can down the road, and it's more about sell the service and keep them for long enough that you made a bunch of money, and then they'll just drop you and move on to somebody else, and you sell to somebody else. And that seems to be the business model, which is icky.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing that I did like about the conference that we went to was that they had a whole portion of it, and they have a whole section of their coaching trainings that's like how to actually provide killer results. That's what it's called. It's like here's how you actually provide results to your clients. But it is important to know how to sell. So that's kind of like first thing, how to set up your funnels, how to actually do sales, how to do that. And that's what their initial focus is on. And then it's like, okay, cool. Now we're going to learn how to run ads for clients and how to like do SEO and how to do all this stuff. So it does seem kind of backwards,
Yeah.
still, even in that. But it's like, I don't know. I guess my opinion is that the same mentality, it's the same mentality for both types of people. Even the people that I talked to that didn't know marketing at this conference, it was like, we're going to figure it out. It's like, this is the path that we're on and we have these clients and that's why we're here. We're trying to figure this out so that we can be successful and we can provide these results to clients. And so I like that. I like the mentality that drives people to action. I just don't like how it kind of bears itself out in the marketing industry.
Well,
And this is a great example of that.
do you think that people that are having that fake it till you make it mentality, like I'll figure it out when I get my client and learn everything about it and like hyper focus, is that worse than like a mega agency that just like here's a contract and like they have the resources at some point, have the knowledge to have gone there, but they just continuously deliver like nothing.
They're phoning it in. I think if you come in with a drive and fire of I'll figure it out, I'm not mad at that.
Yeah.
If you're actually trying to figure it out and you actually care about the results that you're delivering, that I'm not mad at, because you can learn along the way and you might, burn through a couple of clients as you make mistakes. But if the idea is, but I'm going to get better and I'm going to do better by that client. And that's why I don't ever have a problem when people start out with lower prices just to test things and test the waters and let your clients know that like, hey, we're going to test some things. I've done that before. Hey, we're just going to test some stuff. Let's test some things for you and see how that works for you. And then you can learn while you're doing that. But if you're just going into this, like all you have to do is sell them, and then who really cares what the deliverability is, and you're not trying to improve that end, that's where I am.
Yeah,
Unforgiving.
I'd agree. I would agree with that. I would say it's worse. The larger agencies are worse because they're priced higher. They have a more solid sales structure that's harder to back out of. Like they bully you into staying in the contract, even if you're like, I'm not getting results end of month one, I really can't afford this and I need to back out. They train their people like, look, I'm really sorry. And they incentivize them to bully people into staying longer because they get incentives for retention. And it's like this churn and burn business model that's producing a ton of cash. And the people at the top could care less whether or not it's actually producing results for the people that churn. Who they care about are the people with deep pockets, that it just becomes like a line item and they are growing regardless of what the marketing agency is doing, right? It's like this company.
That's the kicker right there. If you hitch your wagon to a business that's already growing, then they're not going to notice that your marketing isn't helping them. Because they're like, well, our numbers are doing well, so let's just keep doing the things that we're doing. And they have no way of tracking it back or whether or not that company has done the work that they need to do. And that's where, you know, I have the empathy for the small AC repair guy and the plumber and the, you know, we just had the new like ladies boutique that opened up downstairs from us, that they're putting all of their hopes and dreams and their hard-earned money on the line for that, for a company that's not really that interested in getting them real results. And the problem is the marketplace not knowing the difference.
Yeah.
And is uninformed people. And this is with sales reps as well. Like, this is anybody trying to sell you advertising. They are preying on that fear that you don't know what you're doing and you have to spend all this big money to make money, but then not giving you the resources that will actually allow you to be successful. My ad reps that from the newspaper and from the magazines that are in this area, when we had a brick and mortar store, ad reps knew nothing about marketing. They knew they would ask me. And I had one ad rep say, you know, I was telling another one of my clients the other day about like how they could actually like make an offer in their ad, because that's what you do. And that works really well. And so you would think it would be their job to get more clients for people. It's not. Their job is only to sell ad space. And the newspaper's job is only to run it. And it's 100% your responsibility to make an ad that's actually going to work. And people don't know that. And it's the same with the ad agencies or the agency stuff, is that, you know, they come in and they sell you on this big dream. But if you're not informed and you're not aware of what strategies work and don't work, then you're not going to really be able to see through what's happening. And you could be out $3, $4, $5, $6 grand, 12 grand. How many times do people come to you, Duncan? I remember that one where you said that they hired an agency for 9 months and nothing had happened. And the agency just told them it takes time.
Yeah. So 2 clients stand out, and like one of them's still around. It was crazy. They were with me. I ran ads, got results, and they churned because they didn't get enough results. And I was charging them like nothing. It was like $500 a month at that point in time, you know. And they went with this other company and signed a 6-month contract for $4 grand a month for just SEO. And it's like, okay, cool. At the end of 6 months, they hadn't gotten any leads. I think they did a Google ads campaign and it was like all spam as well. And that's that same agency. I got that same story from another company that we signed on just to do organic social. And they're like, yeah, I would never pay another marketing agency for a full service thing because I paid this company $4 grand a month for a year and got zero return. And I was like, yeah.
$24,000.
Yeah, exactly.
$24,000 for zero return.
Yep. And yeah, me too. And it was the same company. The same company did the same thing to both of those people. And then we talked to another guy, and he's with like one of our main only competitors for our agency. And you just talk to people about their numbers, and they're like, they start to connect the dots. It's like, oh, you've been spending $2,500 a month for a year. How many sales did you get from that, from your ads? Do you have the list of leads that you got? Can you compare it to the people that bought? And he's like, yeah, looks like I sold 1 from Facebook ads this year. It's like, okay, so Benjamin was like, okay, so you spent, I don't do public math, $25,000 to sell 1 house. And he was like, when you put it like that, that's pretty rough.
That's a Corolla.
We were both like, oh God. And it's just hard because like they're they're living their life and like operating their business and trying to make ends meet, and they know they have to spend on marketing, and like the agency is just happy that the check's clearing, right? They're happy that it's that to continue charging him whether they're getting results or not, because it's better for that agency business wise to ignore it. If it's not a problem, just ignore it. And if they start asking about results, make an excuse to kick the can down the road. Like that's what the business model broadly is. Which again is why I really like the conference that we went to, because they really focus on also providing results.
Yeah,
It's
and
like
I don't want
to
to say that like to diss the conference, because
Sure.
I do think that they did care, but there were a lot of people at the conference that I would say do not understand marketing at all. And so it's hard even to hear them, to watch them listen to the sales stuff, because I'm like, no. You shouldn't be listening to this part just yet.
Mhm.
You should be figuring out how to do this part right now. And like you were saying, it's just a little backwards.
Yeah.
But I get that I mean, we can all be in that position, even with my handmade sellers, right? Sometimes they come to me like, how do I sell? And I teach them how to sell. And here it turns out their product is not great. You know, it's not something that people actually want. So I think it's something that everybody needs to pay attention to. But it's why I'm passionate about talking to people about marketing and having those kinds of like math conversations. And, you know, people say, well, I can't really afford marketing right now. And I'm like, if you're saying I can't afford marketing right now, you don't understand what marketing is. And you don't understand investing in order to get a return on that investment. Because marketing shouldn't be a cost. It should be an investment. It's not a black hole that you dump money in. But most of these businesses, that's their only experience. Well, I run newspaper ads. I run Facebook ads. I hired this agency. I bought a website, and it's just a black hole where all the money goes in and they never see anything come back out.
Yep.
That's why I like, for my local business, it's like throw 1,000 in and it's like, you get the results back and it's like, oh my God, it's like, this is a glitch. Like, is this how it's supposed to be? Like, this is crazy. And it's, I think that's very rewarding, like finding that, you know, what can work for your business.
Mm-hmm.
Totally agree.
It should be money in equals more money out. And if it's not, you need to figure out why. It's like, that's the equation. If you're putting time and money and effort,
one side of it, money in.
Yeah. And then it's the difference between delegating and abdicating, right? It's like, are you giving it to someone and saying this is your job and keeping track of them and making sure they're actually producing, or are you just paying money to somebody and like hoping that it works out? It's like so many businesses
think about it, because I don't know marketing. I don't understand marketing. I'm just going to hire a company to handle the marketing. And then that's abdication. Exactly. That's correct.
Yeah, and that's something we've been, or at least I've been thinking about when I'm on the phone with people for our agency, is like, what kind of person am I talking to? Like, are they somebody that seems like they just want to hand it off to me and not think about it? It's like, I'll take their money and not feel bad about it because I know that I can produce results now, because I've gone through that phase of figuring it out. But I would still rather work with someone who is actively involved. It's like they want to know what we're doing. They want to know how it's working. They get excited by it when it works. They're going to stay longer because they're invested. They're going to stay a client longer because they're invested in what we're doing and are excited by the success, just like we are.
I got to tell that guy today that he was paying $25 a message, and now it's down to $7. It's like, that was so much fun to say. You know, so that was great. Like, I felt happy being able to be like, look,
it works. Yeah,
it works. Just do it a little bit better.
Thinking about it's so fun too to think about, like, even if that's all we did, that pretty much justifies our cost. That's like, what is it, like 5 times less expensive per lead than what they were paying? You know, and for the amount of leads that they're doing, if we literally just decrease that cost per lead, we're like in the black. But yeah, it's so fun it becomes a lot more fun when you can actually produce results, right? In that period of time where you're figuring it out and like wondering if you can actually figure out how to deliver on what you're saying, it's kind of a nightmare. It's like, I don't know. You're like lying to people to make a living is essentially what it is. And like, I immediately felt that when I started an agency, and I was like, this isn't cool. And the first few deals that I did were performance-based, which came back to bite me in the ass, but I still think it was the right way to do it starting out. because I was like, look, I don't know if this is going to work. I'll be straight up with you. And like the way that I made it work for both of us was like, look, I'll make money when you make money. And I wouldn't recommend that to an agency owner, especially if you're new to business in general, because it's really hard to get paid. And those relationships are tough to manage. But there's got to be some sort of balance between, I don't know, starting an agency, claiming you can produce results, but also being honest about what those results are. I don't know.
Yep.
There's some balance in there.
Yep.
But
Yep.
it is fun to be the big dog. Like, yeah, take a look at these 2,000 leads. I've been throwing that around on sales calls now because we did 2,000 leads last month in December for a company that's like, it's a slow month for them. I'm like, yeah, imagine what we're going to do when it's busy. It's like,
I love
yep,
it.
lots of fun.
All right, I've got at least one more that I'd like to do that I pulled up here. This is, so we had talked about a while back. We've talked a lot about on previous podcasts and in our Marketing Power Hour program that we did for a year or so there. We talked a lot about small town famous and what it takes to be really popular in your hometown and in the area where you live. So I created this Facebook page for our local area. It's called What's Up Sandusky. And we're using this page really to just like build an audience in Sandusky and not really knowing exactly what I wanted to do with it, but just like, I don't know, let's just build an audience. Well, my daughter Willow is actually wanting to do some social media management for some local people. And she knows what she's doing and she can do it really well. And so to do that and to kind of introduce herself to the area business owners, she's been going around and doing these like little profiles on local business owners. So this is a guy that just opened a tattoo shop in our area. She went in, she interviewed him, and then she made a post. And we're doing what we're calling is like a Humans of New York style post. If you don't know, if you've never seen Humans of New York, whoever's listening to this, go check out Humans of New York on Facebook. Absolutely fantastic storytelling Facebook page, telling real stories of real people. So we did like a Humans of New York style post. And I'm not going to get too much into it, but like, you know, he talked about how he always loved Sandusky, even when he was a kid, riding his BMX and skateboarding. And then talking about how he saw that it was going to be an up and coming area and encouraged somebody else to start a business there. They didn't. So he came here and did it. He said, I feel like it's 10 years too late. I feel like I'm a little late to the party, but better late than never. So he talks about his tattoo shop there, but he's really talking about like Sandusky and the area. So you got to know your audience, right? So this page is full of not people that love tattoos necessarily, but people that love Sandusky, that live in Sandusky. And so we kind of grounded it to that idea of, you know, pride in the place where you live. This is a new business that's starting in Sandusky. And we got a pretty good response off of this. We had about 1,000 followers, I think, when we made this post. So we got 43 likes, a comment, 34 shares. Now on those shares, one of the shares that he did on here, like a lot of these shares, this one got 10. The one he shared, that one got 25 likes, 4 comments. A friend of his, it got 48 likes. So
yeah, that's crazy organic distribution.
Yeah. So his post sharing it got 65 likes, 19 comments. So it did really well. We were very happy with it. This isn't the best one that we've done. We had another one that got over 500 likes. But the reason why I wanted to share this one is to show you what our local newspaper did. And the reason why I want to show you that is, number one, old school traditional media versus new media. But 2, just because you've made a post about something doesn't mean, you know, it's kind of like what we were talking about with advertising. You can write an ad and it flop and do nothing, or you can write and run an ad and it does great. You can run a Facebook ad that does fantastic, or that costs you a ton of money. It's the strategy and the way that you approach it that makes a difference. So maybe 2 weeks after we did this feature of this business owner, the Sandusky Register, our local newspaper, came in and also decided to highlight him. They do that it's not like they copied us or anything. He's a new business, register shows up, takes your picture and all of that. And so their post, this is their post. So there is a stark difference in the way that the picture comes across, for sure. I love that you're laughing because when I saw it, and the other thing is they posted this vertical picture, and in the newsfeed, it was cutting off.
It chops it off. Yeah.
So his head and his feet were chopped off. It was just showing like his arms crossed in front of his camouflage.
And they're screaming, "Why are our newspapers failing? Nobody supports local media."
And so then their post is, whether it's clean floors, fresh equipment, or vibrant one-of-a-kind artwork covering up every inch of the wall space, Jarrett strive to make the space friendly, inviting for all guests and customers. Considering they might feel some pain from his services. First of all, I wouldn't bring that up.
No.
There's so much of this that I wouldn't bring up. And so much of this that when Willow went in and did the interview that he brought up that she's like, yeah, I'm not posting about that. He was obsessed about how clean his studio was and how the health department said that they're not going to have to worry about him because obviously he keeps everything clean. And that's great. But that's not why people are going. They're not being like, oh, this is the cleanest. I mean,
you kind of assume it will be clean.
Yeah,
I don't know by
yeah,
default.
It's like bare minimum. Yeah.
A new needle, please. I don't know.
And so they're like focusing on clean floors, fresh equipment, and vibrant one-of-a-kind artwork, which are such boring buzzwords, right? Vibrant one-of-a-kind artwork.
It sounds like ChatGPT.
Friendly and inviting for guests and customers. It's so boring.
Yeah.
It's so boring. So when you compare like the pictures and then compare the text, now the newspaper has 60,000 followers on their account. And this post got 61 likes on it.
So
where ours got, just on the post itself, 43.
Yeah.
So yeah, they did better. But when you compare how many followers, they have 60 times more followers than what we do. And there was not even a comparison I guess you could compare, but it's not really.
I would look at their shares too to see how many of those are like purposeful distribution shares, So like they're people sharing it do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
To push it out,
So we do that too. We share them in the groups, but when I scrolled through, that was not what you saw. You can compare his shares here, the well-worn tattoos. So when he shared ours, he got, I don't know, 60 some likes I think he had on it and like 20 comments. This one got 52 likes and 3 comments. So there's some people that are just going to show up for him because they love him, right?
Yeah.
And that's perfectly fine. But still, again, the approach that you take, if you have 60,000 followers and if you take this approach on 60,000 followers, you're going to have a much different outcome than taking this approach with 60,000 followers. If we took this approach on our page with 1,000 followers, we would probably not have engagement at all. Like he would have shared it and he would have gotten some engagement on his end just because people love him. But we would not have gotten the level of engagement that we did.
Yeah,
it's photo alone is like
it's rough. Yeah, I feel like
that's a professional photographer that gets paid to do photography. Like Willow's just starting her photography journey, and she knew better than to do this.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, that's rough.
I forgot. I didn't realize my mic was muted there for a minute. I was trying to laugh supportively at everything you were saying, but you didn't hear any of
that. So that was the other thing that I wanted to share. Just the difference, because just making the post is not the goal, right? Just making a post to just make a post should not be the goal. You need to have a strategy behind it. You need to create that desire, like we were talking about with the squirrel, you need to create desire for what it is that you're trying to sell. You need to connect with people where they are, and you need to tell stories that people actually want to engage with. Telling a story about growing up in Sandusky and then coming back and starting your business here is a much better story than my floors are clean and it's an inviting space.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I think that one of the things that might happen over time, which has already, shown itself out for the What's Up Sandusky page, is that people respond in kind to better content. Like it just works better. Like it doesn't. I don't know. It's interesting to see it happen, right? Like the reason Humans of New York is so big is because they're telling compelling stories with like good images of these people. It's like that's what makes it work. Not that it's like, I don't know, not that it's in New York, or not that it's they're checking the box of making posts, right? It's very
or it's not about what time of day did I post, and it's not about how long is my post, and it's not about like I keep getting people say, how do I make people like tag and share my post? They'll tag and they'll share when you make a post worth sharing.
Yeah.
Like you don't make people, how do I make people comment more? How do I make people like my post? How do I make them share it? Do better. Post better stuff. It's not your job to like make people do things. It's your job to inspire people to do things.
Yeah, be interesting.
If you're interesting, news flash, you'll get, and that was when we did the
I'm sorry. I just realized that this whole time my my thing has said Benjamin's lame because you were making fun of my
I don't think you need to apologize. I think that it's what it should be.
I'm sorry. I just realized. That's so funny.
Sorry, some of us have to drive trucks for a living. I can't be a big fancy agency like you guys.
I'm sorry. That's what you get for making fun of my camera.
And I just want to share this real quick, because since we're on the What's Up Sandusky, this was a story that Willow shared about a company that has been here for, I don't know, 15 years or something like that. They had
what a great hook. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but like you showed this to me already, and every time I'm like, oh, that's such a great hook.
What, after the fire?
Oh, that's so good. You're like, what fire? Oh.
And we had ChatGPT help us write this because the direct quote was kind of meandering and all over the place. So we're like, write this like Humans of New York. And it started it with, we didn't know what was going to happen. And I sent it to Willow that way because I'm like, let me see what I can do with it. And then I quickly sent her a message. I'm like, actually, first line should be after the fire.
Oh, so
we
good.
Didn't know what was going to happen. And it's
like
so
small
good.
tweaks like that. That is so, it's like magic to me that like you can just switch the order of the words and it will work so much better to get people to like lean in and actually read the rest of the thing. I was instantly interested, and like you can't help yourself. You're like, okay,
after
what
the
burned down?
What happened?
Yeah,
What's going on here?
Pulls them right in.
Give me the tea. What's the drama? What's the
and it kind of leaves you hanging too, because it never really talks about the fire. It just talks about their recovery after the fire. So now I'm even more intrigued.
What is the fire?
I'm like, I want to pay more attention to these posts because maybe I'll find out sometime like what started the fire and what actually happened.
Yep.
So we posted this one, and it's a great story about how the community got together. Again, it's a community page, so that's what we're tapping into. How do we tap into the story about the community? And you can see we got 138 likes on this. Duncan was one of them. Look at that.
Hey.
We got 20 comments, 56 shares, which
like, I actually read this one and liked it, just to clarify.
Yes, I figured you did. So we do about 8 to 10 shares with each one. We'll share to local groups.
Nice.
But they shared it. And let me try to get to them real quick.
Does the news ever share your articles?
The news did not. But after this post, we actually had what is akin to our local Chamber of Commerce. They kind of do it's almost like Southwest Florida Inc. Yeah. They do a lot of different things. They reached out to us and said, we need to sit down and find out what you're doing with this page and what are your goals and how can we help you and all of that.
I don't need you.
Yeah, we had a meeting with them. So they got, when Mr. Smith shared this post, they got 572 likes, 99 comments, 14 shares off of that.
That's
and
crazy.
The comments were people saying, we love you. You're amazing. We were so sad when you were closed. One person said, you're the only reason why I enjoy where I live, because I get to walk to Mr. Smith's every single day. You helped me out of a depression because I would come to your shop and it was just a nice place to be.
Wow.
Like, the comments are so raw and so
incredible.
good.
Yeah.
And one person's like, I'm not crying, you're crying. And then Sarah, the owner, responded like, she's like, I am too, or something like that.
Geez.
So it was such a great bonding moment for this page and their audience. And when the rest of their posts are getting, they'll get like 20, 30 likes. They also have a pretty big following, but they'll get hardly any comments. And it's things like, come buy our coffee. We have scones today. We have spinach wraps. There's construction on the street. Use this other entrance, stuff like that. So this is one that Willow's actually going to talk to them and see if she can do some social media management for them, because
like
just
that?
this one post, if she
like,
can do that more consistently for them, it's game over.
Yeah,
game
that's
over.
game changer.
You guys remember all that dopamine? You want more?
Yeah. You want this? Like I can't guarantee 572 every time, but we can get you up to 150 pretty consistently.
Yeah.
With just good storytelling. There's a knitting group that meets here every single Saturday morning or whenever it is, and they take a specific table, and like everybody that goes in there knows about the knitting group. We can interview them and find out why are they knitting at Mr. Smith's. There's regulars coming in all the time. They have very low turnover on their staff. We can interview the staff.
I have your hook for the knitting one. It's got to say, "What's up, my knittas?"
Oh my God. No, we're not doing that.
Come on.
That's terrible. No.
I feel like people would read it.
I feel like we would get on a
The
shit list
newspaper
pretty fast.
The newspaper would reach out, but for the wrong reason.
Yeah, and so there's been a couple of times now that we've crossed over with the newspaper, and I believe we've done better on most of them. We had this other this one here, the newspaper did something. No, actually, What's Up are the Destination Sandusky did a feature on her at the same time. But ours, I think, got more likes than theirs as well. I'd have to double check that one. But again, it's a story, and it's her about, I get so emotional thinking about it, is the opening line on that. Yeah. So it makes a difference how you come into a story and how you talk about your business on social media. Don't just post the boring, like, hey, I have cookies today. And a selfie with your products is going to always work so much better than just like a grainy, dark photo of like a tray of cookies.
100%. Yeah. I've loved watching the page grow, although I haven't been like actively following it. I did in the beginning. It's just so cool to be that. I don't know. You could take something that so many people do badly and wrongly and like do it so well. It's like the perception is that it just doesn't work. Yep. Even today, I still talk to people like, yeah, social media just doesn't, like, you can't post on Facebook and get any traction for your business, but you have to do it to have a presence. And it's like, no, I've seen the magic. Like, I've seen it work. You just got to do it right. And it's fun to watch somebody else do it.
People coming in based on that post. That they're like, you know what, we should go there this weekend. And what I want to really know is, did anybody like bring it up and mention it and that sort of thing? So Willow did do a follow-up, but people are terrible about reporting their results and they don't understand it. Like, we get really excited, like, oh, you got 10 people calling you. That's fantastic. And they'll be like, oh yeah, that brought us in some business.
Yeah.
Like, don't you see what just happened? Don't you see what just happened?
Yeah, we made one post and you made money.
Yes, let's duplicate that. And just some people don't get it. And I think they get it more than others do. But yeah.
But that's like, you can do some fun stuff with that though. Like to really show them that this kind of stuff works, you can provide them a phone number for $2 that can track. And it's like, hey, look, all these people that are calling you from Facebook now. Like, you weren't tracking before, but like, this is awesome. Every time you post, it's like 5 calls come in about like your coffee prices or something.
Yeah.
I think it's like being important to remember to do those things, so actually you can show them, because like you can tell somebody, like you're saying, like, oh, like, did you get more people? Well, maybe, but they're not.
Yeah, because they're not tracking and they're not paying attention.
Yeah.
That is the most difficult thing, especially with something like this, where you're not sending them to a lead form, or you're not trying to capture information. You're not trying to get them to purchase online. You're inspiring them to go out of their way and go to the coffee shop.
It's
or go to
kind
the
of
coffee
like
shop again,
hiring
or buy
the right
extra at the coffee shop.
hiring the right person to do organic for you is almost like, how can you say,
Impossible.
lucky. Like, it's like you have to get lucky, because like they could be really good at it. It's like, oh, this person's just like good at it, and it's like, you know, I charge $1,000 a month and whatever. And then, but it's like you can't go off price. Somebody can charge you $5,000 a month, and it's like the worst thing you've ever seen in your life. Or like,
That's
you have
marketing
no idea.
in general.
You're gonna believe that it's good because you're paying so much money. So it's like, you know.
Yeah, I think that getting a social media manager that actually does a good job is extremely rare. It's extreme, and I'm not saying this to toot my horn or to toot Willow's horn. This is why I teach social media, because if you're going out and trying to find an agency, and agencies, especially if the agency's like, oh yeah, we can do your social media too, run away. Run away.
It's just like an add-on service.
That is not worth your time and effort and money. It's better to have somebody in-house or somebody local. It really should be, especially if you're a local business. But even if you're an online business, having somebody local that can come in and do behind the scenes type photos and interview you and talk to you and take pictures of you and take your selfies and that sort of thing. I think having somebody local that can come in that really has their fingers on the pulse, and that person's going to be more expensive. But a cheap person is not the kind of person that you want, because it's literally just throwing your money away. But the right person, a good person that really understands the storytelling and creating desire and creating that connection and making you small town famous, that's going to make all the difference in the world.
Yeah, my experience with it, like we got that one client that was like organic social. We did a little bit extra for them, and I had to charge enough to make it worth it because we were trying to do it right. Like, I was there regularly, filming, taking photographs, asking questions to pull the stories out of people. And it's like very labor intensive. It's very communicative. And like, they were still like the first month, it was like insane increase in the amount of people interacting with her. And they're like, yeah, this is great. I just know that it won't really produce anything for the business. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, she's like, yeah, I just don't think that really means anything, that we got 60 likes or whatever on this. I'm like, all right, never doing organic social again. Like,
they gotta get it. They gotta get it. And that's where you have to almost just like
educate them
everything.
It's like coach them about what you're doing is so awesome and it's working. Teach them about it, and then it's like,
well, and you got to do it beforehand. You got to be like, and I would almost do like the question thing. Like, we can agree that like 5 likes on a post isn't helping you a whole lot, right? Mm-hmm. Can we agree that if you got 100 likes on your post, that means there's some influence happening there, and that they're thinking about you more, and that it's getting spread more, and the algorithm showing it to more people, and more people are seeing, and more people are going to buy? Like, I would get those agreements ahead of time, that they make sure that they get it. And if they're like, oh, if we get to 100 likes, that doesn't mean anything, then I would never take them on as not that I take on clients. But if I were a social media person, I would never take that person on as a client. And that's where Willow is very interesting to watch her go from each business and come back and kind of report on the business owner. And she's like, I would never pitch them because they don't get it, and they think social media is not important, and they just don't get it. But the coffee shop did seem to get it. They are active on social already. Whether or not they know that somebody else doing it will give them a tremendously different result, that's still up in the air of whether or not they get that. But at least they're using it. Some of these guys are like, oh, I don't bother with social media. Okay, I'm not going to try to convince you.
Not going to convince you.
I'm convinced, but I don't do anything.
I think that's why I like paid ads a little bit more, because I would rather target somebody that it's still the same equation, right? They have to get it. But if they're willing to spend the amount of money that we're recommending they spend, I know I can get results for them, whether or not they believe in it or not. right? It's like they're gonna see. Seeing is believing with leads. Like they're gonna get leads, they're gonna get appointments if they do it the way that we say they should do it.
And it's trackable.
If I were, it's trackable. If I were to have an agency, there's no way I would do it for social media, organic social media. I would do it for ads because I can show a real result.
Yeah.
The social media, it will give you real results if done correctly. But if the client isn't tracking it, then it's harder for me to track it unless you're doing things like what Benjamin said of like setting up different phone numbers and that sort of thing. But it's really easy for them to dismiss it and say, oh, well, we had a great Saturday. Oh, it's because of that post. Well, maybe.
Yeah.
They can excuse it away. And even though it gives real tangible results, it's not real trackable in
much
your face
harder
numbers.
to do attribution. Yeah.
Yep.
And like I think that one of the interesting things that we're dealing with now is like how much should we actually track? And we're in that weird spot of like we do pretty much all paid ads. And it's like most agencies do the thing where they're like, okay, so you got this many leads, and based on your reported conversion rate and percentage that you'll close from your leads that you're already getting, what we expect that you'll make this much money. And they give them like a little dashboard that's like, here's how much you're expected to make from these leads. Hooray. And then they say like, the rest is up to you. For us, we're like, how many people out of 10 that you talk to are you going to close? And like, we're getting people onto your lot, and we're talking about how should we even start tracking ROI? It's like, okay, here's the list of everybody who closed, so we can go, hooray, we made X amount of dollars. That's like a much more powerful case study and a much more powerful example to take to potential clients. But it's like, putting your nuts on the table like that is scary. Benjamin and I are like, okay, should we really ask them how many people bought? Because what if nobody did, but
I was watching a video the other day and the guy said, well, I got to hand him credit. He really did put his nuts on the table. And like, I can't get away from this.
Yeah, we were just saying the other day, I was like, yeah, I mean, putting your nuts on the table is scary because they might get cut off. That's like that's the danger here, right? But yeah, so we're probably going to start tracking ROI just to let you know. That's a new update for you for our business. Yep.
Cool.
That's all I got.
Anything else you want to talk
like
about?
Steps too, which is fun.
Yeah, Benjamin's got a whole thing built out. It's really, really comprehensive. Tracks like where the leads are. So when it comes in, and did they give their phone number or not? Like, yes, no. Okay, then they're at the next stage. So we can kind of diagnose, like, where are they dropping off? Do we need to make tweaks here? How many people can we get to that final stage where they actually come in? What can we do to optimize it? Very cool.
Love it.
And then in that, it's like, okay, who closed? Green check mark or not?
Right.
So we can brag about it on the internet to other people.
That's the whole point.
I'm doing
it. All right. Anything else we want to talk about?
I think we covered a few good topics, and we can save and build up some more for the next one.
Yep. I've got more on here. We can just hold on. I know you guys are going to be in Kentucky next week, so let's figure on the week after.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we'll that works. Yep.
We'll do that. Unless Willow and I decide to do an episode together without.
I won't be here the week after either. I'll be in DC.
He's gonna.
You won't be here.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine, Benjamin. We can do this without you.
Yeah, we don't need you.
We'll bring on Willow. We'll bring on or Duncan and I just hang out. That's fine.
We'd be chilling.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. I love you both very much, deeply and affectionately, and I will see you soon.
All right. Good luck next week, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.